Okay, by the way, the market, is having a bit of a trending day today. Make no mistake about that. This is not just one of those days where you just buy the first dip. 3% down now on the Nifty and 4% down on the Bank Nifty. Good time to call Nilesh Shah, our market master from Envision Capital, who now joins us. Nilesh, hi, good morning. Parallels are being drawn now between, 2008-9 and now. We had almost similar stuff, right? A big decline, then a 33% retracement, and then a second decline. You think it's too early to say that it could work out that way, or are there signs that perhaps we are heading for a repeat of that period?
Well, still I think, Anuj, it's going to be very, very early days. We have to keep in mind that the bottom during the global financial crisis materialized only and only when one of the big names essentially went bankrupt. And I think in this situation right now, probably the markets will bottom out only when probably there is somewhat a remedy, if not a complete remedy of the COVID-19. So I think it could still take a few more months, given that there is really no immediate remedy for the coronavirus. And I think that is probably going to be the most important event to really watch out for, or material progress on that front, where we could actually say that the markets have bottomed out or are close to bottoming out. But I think till then, we are going to see significantly volatile times. The markets have been volatile over the last 4 to 6 weeks. And I think this kind of volatility will still continue till we see any meaningful progress in terms of remedy for the coronavirus.
Okay, well, for now, it's still 260 points low on the Nifty, and big cracks coming into the metal space this morning. Vedanta, Hindalco down 7%, as Anuj was talking about, and also Bajaj Finance is now down 7%. Nilesh, hi, morning. I wanted your thoughts on IT, because very interesting. On one hand, you have TCS giving you, a positive commentary from the management, saying that there's no structural breakdown across sectors. On the other hand, Infosys comes out with weak commentary. So at the opposite ends of the spectrum, do you see more money moving out of Infosys and into names like TCS, and what is your own recommendation now?
I think that sector is in for some really interesting and challenging times. If one were to look at the commentary or not the guidance, but any kind of indication given by both TCS and Infosys, I think both these large firms have essentially indicated that the first half of this financial year, which is the quarter ended June and September, are going to be tepid and weak. There is going to be some kind of a pull down in terms of their volumes and in terms of their business. So clearly the first half could witness some kind of a degrowth. It's only probably when we kind of step into the quarter ended December, which is basically Q3 of this financial year, is when some kind of normalcy or sanity could prevail for them because of the kind of turmoil which is happening in their end market. So I think the first half is going to be weak. There is going to be some cuts in terms of their business, and that will, of course, spill over into their earnings. Probably it's only the Q4 of this financial year where they could either see some kind of a growth. So this, I think, challenging environment will remain for them for the next 2 to 3 quarters. The other important thing and the other important event for the technology sector is essentially going to be the U.S. elections. The U.S. gets into an election in November. And prior to that, you're going to see hear a lot of political rhetoric in terms of protecting jobs for local citizens. And obviously, of course, areas like H-1B visas and those kind of things, and essentially putting some kind of embargo on immigration. There are essentially a lot of the noises which are going to basically come out in the open over the next 6 to 9 months. So that is the other big event. And I think roll back to 2016, you saw significant weakness in essentially the technology stocks. Because of these kind of noises or the rhetoric which had come out. So I think they face twin challenges. One is essentially the business environment, which of course is tepid and weak right now for them. And second, of course, is essentially the U.S. elections and the rhetoric which will come around the U.S. elections. So I think it's going to be a very, very tough sector to be in for the next 1 or 2 quarters.
Okay, good morning, Nilesh. You began by saying the markets are not out of the woods. Neither is the economy. So what are basically your investing philosophies? Are you moving into cash, moving into bonds a little bit, waiting for markets to stabilize? That's one question. The other is, what kind of sector churn to protect yourself from what you were saying, markets still not out of the woods?
Yeah. Yes, Sulata, that's, I think, a very, very kind of a relevant strategy to have right now. And I think we've been having some cash, and we've been raising some more cash in this upswing that we have seen, or the recovery that we have seen in the markets in the last few days. And I think we would want to hold some powder dry. I think we are going to see some very interesting opportunities. I still believe that the complete economic fallout is not fully evident. It's not yet come to the fore. And you are basically going to see some sharp cuts in earnings, not just for technology, but I think for other sectors as well. How do we address this? I think, first is to basically kind of, in a way, for the time being, not fall for sectors which essentially are going to witness any kind of demand destruction. And that clearly becomes essentially a negative list. And I think be for areas like pharmaceuticals, utilities, consumer staples, these are the pockets which will not witness demand destruction when normalcy comes back. Or they will not basically have delayed demand, so to say. Of course, in the very short term, they could face some supply side issues, but those are things which probably will get eased out once normalcy comes back. So I think these are some of the sectors to really, really watch out for there.
Okay, by the way, the market's falling a bit more. It has broken the 9,000 level and is trading below that. Let's see if there's an attempt to get back there. The Bank Nifty is the problem. It's now down about 900 points, 19,640. Nilesh, the last month has seen a big rally in the mid caps. We've not had a single day in which the market breadth has been on a declining side. Do you worry that, once again, perhaps retail may have ended up buying stocks at a higher price, and we might go through one more round of big mid-cap decline, which could lead to some more volatility, some more pain, margin calls, etc., from the retail side?
I probably think that the margin call kind of stuff, basically, or the retail leveraged plays. I mean, retail investors or traders who are leveraged. Probably, I think this time around, it probably relatively is more well managed, in the sense that I'm quite sure brokerages would have put various kind of risk management at play, and would not have kind of extended the kind of leverage facility that they would have leveraged, at the start of the year, or even getting into basically COVID-19. So my sense is that you will see, I think, probably less of a challenge in terms of the mid and the small caps. Of course, when things fall, they'll also have to face the brunt of the selling pressure. But my sense is that it's still going to be the larger names, which I think are going to be more vulnerable in the next round of fall. So I wouldn't be surprised if the larger names probably fall as much or fall more also than versus the mid and small caps. I think a lot of the froth and the excess ownership or additional ownership in mid caps and small caps perhaps is behind us. Ownership has come down significantly. So my sense is that the mid and small caps probably would face a lot less of the selling pressure versus the large caps.
Okay. I do want your thoughts, Nilesh, on how one should approach some of these blue chip names that are in sectors where it seems like the economic damage could last very long. So consumer finance loans, for example, Bajaj Finance this morning is under a lot of pressure. UBS has put out a note where they say that the risk is very high for self-employed personal loans if the economic damage continues. Should you keep the faith in names like this because of how strong the management is, there are no corporate governance issues, etc., or do you sort of switch out because the landscape is changing?
Well, the space is facing now huge headwinds, and I think when we essentially have been on the calls hosted by these companies, and I think I think the managements of these companies have essentially come out and said that it's going to be difficult. Honestly, they see very limited visibility in terms of business for the next 1 or 2 quarters. Collections will remain a priority, and this is the first significant challenge that they have faced. And essentially, when their size has multiplied over the last 5 to 10 years, these companies were relatively small 10 years back, 5 years back, but in the last 5 to 10 years, they are now several X times the size that they were. And therefore, this is essentially a first time that they are facing this kind of a situation. And it's going to continue to be stress time for these credit plays, especially the NBFCs, because they will continue to face challenges on both sides. Of course, the asset side is a challenge, but of course, the dependence on wholesale money will also kind of, in a way, play out and would put pressure on them in terms of being able to kind of meet their deadlines. So I think this is a space which is right now an avoid, especially the NBFC space. If at all there is exposure to be taken, I think it's better to kind of stick with the banks. I think they are more advantageously placed versus the NBFCs. So I think the NBFCs are a still complete avoid. You could still see some significant drawdown in terms of their stock prices.
Actually, I was going to extend that question to banks. You began with Bajaj Finance, but do you think now Kotak Bank and HDFC Bank have fallen enough? Three-digit HDFC Bank and Kotak Bank as well. It had seen 1700, 1800, now available closer to 1000.
Yeah, I think clearly, arguably, these are the two best banks India has, and both these banks, of course, there has been significant shave off in terms of their stock prices. The valuations essentially are way below what they have been over the last maybe 5 to 7 years. So to that extent, of course, they have become relatively more attractive versus where they were maybe at the start of the year. But having said that, Lata, I still think that you are going to see pressure in these stocks as well, because there is fair amount of ownership. And I'm not quite sure whether there's going to be pressure in the very short term, because the challenges on the asset quality will come to the fore probably sometime in the June quarter, and more so in the September quarter. Of course, the managements of these banks will go ahead and make provisions and all of that and build the cushion. But nevertheless, I'm not entirely sure whether they can also with 100% confidence say what will essentially be the impact in terms of the asset quality. So my sense is that probably it will still take them as well a couple of quarters to be entirely out of the woods, and for things to basically really stabilize for them. So both from the business side as well as from stock prices as well as asset quality, all three fronts, I still think that they could still go through some bit of volatility over the next few months, and it could take maybe a couple of quarters before things really settle for them.
All right. Nilesh, always a pleasure having you. We want to see you in flesh and blood.